Yes, my name is Mark. I am a graphic designer, and I'm really happy to be here. Normally, when I do talks, I get up and I show some graphic design or some packaging and stuff. But today, I am going to give a bit of a personal story. It's TEDx, and so I wanted to just go a bit deeper. Don't worry, I am going to show like some graphic design stuff. So if you came for that, it's okay. I'm going to talk today about finding peace, and actually more specifically, finding happiness. Happiness is very important to me, I'm sure, like everybody in life and work and so on. But when I met with the team, like you said, and you talked to me about this concept, with or without, and how that relates to finding balance and simplicity in your life. But for me, actually, because it's ironic because actually 10 years ago, I made a decision of my life that was the least simple. I decided to leave Canada, where I'm from. I left Canada and I decided I'm going to go live and work abroad, and it's been really great. So just a bit of backstory. Like I said, I come from Canada. This is my family. Beautiful mother, handsome father, amazing siblings. I miss them dearly every day. And one of my most deepest memory of being a kid was we were so tight, but we always traveled together. We were always going around, whether it's like a holiday to visit family or some sort of sport tournament or something. We're always moving. Um, this is actually a picture of me and my dad. We're on a train. This train is the one that goes across Canada. It takes like 5 days, and you're sitting there for that amount of time. It's kind of boring when you're a kid, but looking back, it was just so cool. Like we would see the Rocky Mountains or the Northern Lights, or even like the boring parts in the middle are actually really cool. And I realized, maybe not at the time, but now, is that happiness for me had to be tied to some sort of journey or some sort of discovery. I felt happy when I'm moving, when I'm experiencing new things. Even later, when I got my first job, this is a book design, a book cover I designed at the first kind of cool agency I was working at. And what you see is a bunch of people. This was the team at the time, and I think more than half of the team was not from Canada, not from Toronto. And here is where I had this kind of seed, or this idea that I could attach movement and travel and discovery with a career to build my life and to get what I want. So not long after, like I said, 10 years ago, I moved to Amsterdam. I left Canada, all my crap, and got on a plane. And Amsterdam was like a wonderland to me. It was my first time in Europe. Everything is beautiful there. Every little detail, whether it's a small little thing on the street or these beautiful buildings, it just had this like maximal stimulation at all time. I met these guys. This is the founders of a design studio in Amsterdam, Pepijn and Richard. They hired me to come work for them, and at the time it was like a dream come true for any young graphic designer going to Holland, this kind of mecca of design. It was my first taste of that kind of that impact. We worked together on some. We did some design work. This was a campaign identity for a festival at the time, and what you kind of see is what I learned there was to kind of design without not being so uptight. Those two guys, they looked very serious, but actually they showed me how to design in a more of a free kind of what we called activist way, and that's kind of something that really I took from as a designer, having worked in Holland, and it's still really powerful. However, I was only in Amsterdam for 1 year with visa issues. That was the reality. At the time, I didn't want to move home, so I decided to get my bags packed up, and I moved to England. England was another big city. It was a quick 2 years that I was there. It was a great time. I got to work with some more amazing people, including this guy. Probably no one knows who this is. This is a guy named Martin, Martin Lambie-Nairn. He's sort of a design god from England. He designs stuff like BBC, Channel 4, Identities, and also he's kind of the godfather of motion graphics on. So when you're watching like the news or sports, you see kind of like flashy stuff. He was kind of doing that in the 90s, and it was really kind of influential. Sorry. For me, it was really really impactful because he was an older guy. He's from a different kind of generation and time, and what he showed me how to do was to bring confidence and a sort of discipline to my work. So having come from Amsterdam with all that kind of wild stuff, going to London brought me into this more path, more kind of disciplined way of working. We worked on some projects together. This one was kind of the most notable. It's a University of Northampton, which is kind of a small town in central England. We created this kind of funky logo and some other bits, and it was just like a really awesome time. But like I said, quick 2 years, and next, finally, I came to Vietnam. Vietnam was kind of on the radar for a long time. I had been in touch with a local agency called Rice. They had sort of invited me out to work here. That's me. I think around the first week or so that I was in Saigon, you can see I'm wearing this kind of dirty T-shirt, shorts. I'm trying to get acclimatized. But yeah, that's me in the studio. And yeah, I think coming to Vietnam was just, taking all my previous experience and journey and happiness and sort of coming here and you're sort of, as a designer, when you work here, you have all these like wonderful possibilities available to you. Not only are we able to make your typical kind of like graphic design stuff, packaging and identities, but we're so much more kind of on the ground and able to make things. And I think that's what really brought me here. My first client, I was working with these guys. This is Sam and from Maru. Maru is hopefully we all know is a local chocolate brand, very kind of well known, very exquisite. But when I was working with these guys, I got sort of brought into their world, and I really got to know them as people. And not only was it a really interesting kind of client to work with, but they became sort of role models to me, especially as like a young or a recently arrived expat. It's like I wanted to be like them. I wanted to be in the farms and meeting people and making amazing things. And we ended up finally we made this. This is a line of products with Maru, and it's sort of within their family of chocolate ingredients. I really loved this project. It was a way of, again, like bringing this design experience to a place where I could make stuff. And what we did, we made this. It's a tin can with chocolate inside, but what I see is we made this object that's kind of timeless. It's made of metal. It'll never kind of dissolve. It's sort of this object that is eternal, and that's something that sounds kind of nerdy, but it's like really really important to me. And here you kind of see it in its natural habitat with the rocks, and yeah, again, it's like a very iconic image to me, and makes me really happy to look back on that. We created some other stuff. This is another client. This is packaging for matcha tea. Believe it or not, we had a client at the time that they thought of their matcha as like the world's best, most purest matcha, and so they asked us to make some packaging that was like not like anything anyone had ever seen. So we did that. We even sort of we would shoot their product printed on green paper, and we even made this little small kind of printed brochure for their brand. And it was just like really cool, again, to be like mixing up material and different ways of thinking. And we came up with that. It was really fun. We also worked with Suboi, again, playing with this kind of black and white material. This was an interesting project because we had no budget. She asked us to make some artwork for her EP, and we just went through her Instagram and found a picture of her. I think she's like outside her grandma's house or something like that. But yeah, we put it on the cover, and she loved it, and it was a really awesome project. We also made some branding for a beer brand. This was for a local beer called Rooster. The best thing about when you design a beer can is you get to crush it. So that was like the best, most rewarding thing about this project was getting to crush our work. Which kind of leads me to my point that at this point, I'm talking about happiness. That's sort of the topic of this presentation. And by now, I was actually kind of like starting to feel burnt out. I had been working like crazy for like 3.5 years. I think more than 20 or 20-something projects. I was just kind of losing my purpose. I kind of felt like I was going sideways and not forward. So it was kind of maybe a time when I needed some refreshment or some repurpose. So I met these guys. I don't know if anyone in the room knows these two. This is Musco and Sunny, the husband and wife co-founders of 4Ps, the brand you mentioned. And I met them, I think, in 2018. We were working with them at the time on their identity. And here's where I met some people that really showed me like what happiness means. I think when we in the room think about what does it mean to be happy, you're maybe thinking of like smiling or watching something funny, or maybe just feeling happy, and that is happiness. But when I talk about happiness, I more mean things that are a little more everlasting, feeling in the moment, feeling settled, and feeling like at peace, I guess. And that's kind of what these guys showed me, was that there was a possibility to live and work hard, but still hold on to that. So that was something really, really impactful for me at the time, to meet them and start working with them. I joined their company 3 years ago. Checking my time. And it was a really cool time. Working at 4Ps means you get to like go out and visit farms, talk to growers and stuff. This is the owner of one of our partner farms. He loves this cabbage. And can you keep playing? No, you gotta go back. Yeah, he loves this cabbage. Even you can see that field behind him. He grows the cabbage, I think, just to eat it himself, and he's always walking around with it. And I also ate cabbage, and it's so good I like kind of lose my balance apparently. But it was just like, again, like going from design studio to this like new kind of working experience where I'm out in the field. I'm eating food from the ground, and it was just like super rewarding. Even during COVID, this is my desk during the April 2020 lockdown. That's one of our restaurants, I think Haibachung. Yeah, and it's kind of like full of pizza boxes, and we turned it into this like makeshift office. And again, it was just like this really awesome time. Maybe not awesome time, but I remember even during that really difficult period, I still have really fond memories of working with my colleagues late into the night and just figuring this whole thing out, this whole pandemic thing. So of course, we did a lot of design. We refreshed the brand and we changed kind of the look and feel. We're having new, different types of products. We have things like sustainability reports, which we put out. This one's coming out soon. But kind of the more fun thing is like when you work at 4Ps, you get to make stuff that's not like sales oriented. It's like we tend to just make stuff for the fun of it, to make people happy and make people smile. This is behind the scenes of one of our projects from years ago. I don't know if you remember, we made what we call pizzas. These were pizzas with ingredients that were meant to like bring people together, and it was really kind of a really beautiful project. And again, like as an employee or a partner working there, I was just so like stoked to be able to be a designer, but in this kind of sense. Um, really, really fun. Yeah, that's one of the pizzas. Here is again a pizza, but this is what we call our Chat GPT pizza. So I'm assuming everyone here has heard of AI. AI is this new tool, and for some, it's this super innovative thing that's going to make all our lives better. It's going to solve crisis and everything like that. On the other side, maybe it's a little dangerous. We don't know. It's maybe people are gonna maybe lose their jobs, or things are gonna be unsafe, or robots are gonna come and kill us all. I don't know, but I think what the time we are in now is everybody, whether you're a brand, a company, a big company, small company, a person, and so on. We're kind of at the time now where we can decide how are we going to use this tool, this technology, and I don't have the answer. I'm not trying to kind of delegate or advise, but I think for us as a brand, or for example, Pizza 4Ps, as a company that represents peace and compassion, is a very, very tough time for us to sort of figure out how we're going to do this. So like I said, this is our Chat GPT pizza. The recipe was, I think, some prompt, what's the best pizza in Vietnam? And then we got this. But actually, as a company, we've been using AI for a while now. You've maybe seen these. You get them on the table when you pay your bill. All of that info goes into this database, this computer that amalgamates feedback, and it gives us action. It's very useful. We have robots in some of our restaurants, and these really they're just there to make people's lives easier. Whether you're a guest or whether you're working in the restaurant, they're just there for positive. It's not meant to like take job away from our team, but they're really there for kind of support. And then lastly, my final slide. This morning I asked AI to give me a vision of a world of peace and happiness and pizza, and it gave me that. And I think it's okay. I think AI is doing a pretty good job of being able to visualize stuff. But as a designer and a director, if there's any like illustrators or artists in the room, don't worry. AI is not taking your job anytime soon. We will continue to work with real human artists to be able to maybe better visualize the future than the AI is doing. But yeah. So thank you.